This is another bonus content video, so I'm only going to spend around 5 to 10 minutes on it, but Deion Sanders is a national treasure. He poached Cormani McClain from Miami, Florida, to go with him, Travis Hunter, and Shedeur Sanders to Colorado. Like Josh Pate said on his episode last night that talked about this, no one else could achieve recruiting feats like this. But Deion Sanders can. Deion Sanders is a national treasure. And I have a good article by ESPN's Tom Van Haren talking about this that I'm going to link down below. Sanders will have two 5-star corners, two of them, on the Colorado depth chart this coming season, in McClain and in Hunter. Travis Hunter, who played a little bit of wide receiver, played cornerback at Jackson State. He was a top Florida State commit before flipping to Jackson State last cycle. And now McClain has flipped from Miami, Florida to Colorado. And Travis Hunter transferred from Jackson State, along with most of Jackson State's good players. They transferred from there to follow Deion Sanders to Colorado. McClain is the third ESPN 300 prospect in the 2023 class for Sanders, which is more than Colorado has had in the past two classes combined. Indeed, Colorado's recruiting class is number 29th in the 24/7 Sports composite ranking. They have the fourth best transfer portal class according to 24/7 Sports as well. They have the 19th overall recruiting class. 19th, a top 20 overall recruiting class coming into 2023. They are ahead of teams like South Carolina, Ole Miss, Michigan State, TCU, UCLA, Utah, Washington, North Carolina, Nebraska, Kentucky, Baylor, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State. And look, I know that in the overall class, Colorado has 42. They have 42 people coming in. I mean, they're bringing in great players, but they're also bringing in plain bodies to hide some foibles and some big gaping holes on Colorado's depth chart. They need to bring in 40-plus guys because of all the attrition that's going to happen. There's a lot of inferior players that are leaving Colorado, and then Deion's bringing in a lot of superior guys in and some bodies as well just to gain some added depth. But they're competing with like Auburn, Michigan, Penn State, Florida State in overall recruiting rankings. Their average ranking per commit is much lower than all those schools because, again, they're not just bringing in good players, they're also bringing in some mid-tier level players and some fillers so that they can fill in the massive gaps in a Colorado program that hasn't had a impressive season since 2016. I do want to thank Deion Sanders, though, for something. What Deion Sanders did is beautiful because it damages a school that is woefully underachieving. A school that I actually overrated entering 2022, Miami. I predicted the Hurricanes to go 9-3. I've never been on the train of Mario Cristobal going to the playoffs. I don't think he's that kind of coach. Maybe with Miami's money, with their resources, with their in-state talent, and with their footprint and brand, maybe, I thought. And maybe with their hiring of Kevin Steele and Charlie Strong on the defensive side of the ball and Josh Gaddis on the offensive side of the ball, maybe in year one they could win their division, the Coastal Division. And maybe in year 2 or 3 they could contend for a playoff spot. No, and nowhere. That's not a word, of course, but it's just further emphasis on the fact that you go 5-7 with the 66th toughest schedule in the nation. Your offense is barely top 100, 97th in scoring, with Tyler Van Dyke, who looked like an NFL quarterback under Manny Diaz's system. Your defense was 68th in the country scoring. 2022 Miami was disgusting in comparison to 2021 Miami, which was top 25 in scoring offense, 34.1 points per game, which was 23rd. It was 85th in defense, though. So your defense did improve, but the strength of schedule was also 33rd in the country, which was 2 times tougher than the 66th strength of schedule that Miami had in 2022. Miami being a team that got blown out by Pittsburgh, that got whipped by Clemson, that got emasculated by Florida State at home, a team that beat Virginia by 2, a team that had 8 turnovers to Duke, that got blown out of the water by Middle Tennessee, and a team that lost to Texas A&M. That same team had a top 4 recruiting class before Deion Sanders poached away Cormani McClain. That same team. A lot of it, of course, has to do with NIL. A lot of it has to do with hype around the program and the fact that Mario Cristobal and like a lot of the guys on his staff are likable guys who are good recruiters. Alex Mirabal, for example, really good recruiter and developer of talent on the offensive line. But still, and this is just my opinion, you shouldn't get rewarded with a top 4 class by going 5-7, because at the end of the day, winning is what matters. It's winning and developing the players on the field into young men who can succeed, whether that's in football, life after football, whether it's in their personal lives. I mean, this is what Nick Saban and Kirby Smart do. Going 5-7, having one of your better quarterbacks in Jake Garcia leaving, having just atrocious play calling on both sides of the football, and Tyler Van Dyke severely regressing, and then you get a top 4 recruiting class? I don't buy that. So, to Deion Sanders, thank you, because I'm not a fan of the ACC. And the Pac-12, listen, speaking of Colorado, just for like a few seconds, Colorado's schedule is going to be one of the toughest in the country next year. They have Nebraska, they have TCU, and then they have 9 conference games in the Pac-12. And the Pac-12, half of that conference is good to great football teams. I mean, they are deep. They are loaded. They have a plethora of good coaches and good players and sound football, and especially elite quarterback play. You know, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Cameron Rising, Bo Nix. Those are all going to be top 10, top 8 quarterbacks in the nation this next season. And Deion Sanders is in that conference. So because of the depth of the Pac-12 and the success that they had last season, I like competitive nature. I like good teams. I don't like bad football. And right now, Miami, Florida is bad football. And Cormani McClain, who's 6'2", 165, it's actually similar build to what I am just by height and weight, except of course he's much more athletic than I will ever be, and rightfully so. He's trained a lot harder. He is top 15 in the nation according to 24/7 Sports. He's the number 1 corner in the nation, 3rd best prospect in the state of Florida, long time Miami Hurricane commit. He's projected in the first round by Andrew Ivins, who's a Southeast recruiting analyst. He's rated as a 10 when it comes to his hips, ball skills, and size, a 9 for instincts, tackling, change of direction, and an 8 for physicality and speed. Him and Travis Hunter, that will be quite the cornerback duo to go up against. So if you're Pac-12 wide receivers, if you're Michael Jackson III from USC, good luck. If you're, I can't even name another Pac-12 wide receiver, and that's my bad. But like Giles Jackson at Washington, that's a name. Jalen Polk from Washington. Like if they even play Colorado, just naming wide receivers out there, this will be a tough corner room a tough, tough corner room to fight against. And that's all because of Deion Sanders. So he's a national treasure. What he's done in flipping Cormani McClain from Miami to Colorado is huge because once again it gets his name and his program in the national spotlight like it did for Jackson State. So that's going to give him recruiting momentum. It's going to give his team just mental momentum, some confidence, some swag, which is going to be much needed with the tough schedule they have this coming year. Because, and this is where I'm going to end off the video, Colorado's going to need every win they can get. Because if they go bowling in year one, that would genuinely surprise me. With the talent they have on deck, even with the transfer portal class, the terrible chemistry, the terrible depth, the terrible talent, the terrible culture, and the very hard, rocky schedule, all of that combined, one transfer portal class and the first year of a new staff is very likely not going to fix all that in 1 year. Now, they could pull a Sonny Dykes. Look what he did with TCU, a program that was on the downtrend, but they had more talent, and I'd actually argue their regular season strength of schedule was probably a little easier in retrospect and with hindsight than Colorado's will be in 2023. But that's all I have to say in this video. I just wanted to cover it. Gives me an excuse to talk a little bit about Deion Sanders and Colorado football, who I will definitely be cheering for because it's a program who they have a history to them. You might not have known, but Colorado won a national title in, I think, 1990 or 1991 with Bill McCartney as their head coach, who played at Michigan and was a Michigan assistant. So, a little bit of my fandom is connected there. But yeah, Colorado once had a name to them. They had a rivalry with Nebraska, which they'll be renewing this year. And that used to be a constant and consistent top 10 matchup, really intense rivalry game. So to have a program that has some history to it, that's back on the rise, and look, I'm rooting for him in the same way that I was ironically rooting for Miami a little bit in 2022. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and comment your thoughts on this video down below. See you guys later.